Hi my loves, welcome back to my video. If you are new, welcome back. Anyway, trigger warning for today's video. It contains very heavy themes, so mentions of sexual assault, mentions of pedophilia, grooming. If that's a trigger for you or it makes you feel uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form, please do not watch this video. It's not anything going in detail, but it's a lot of mentions of them. I use them as examples a lot for the topic today. Throughout the video, that's really all I can think of that bothers you. However, if that doesn't bother you, then, thank you in advance for watching my video. Subscribe if you feel like it. Like this video if you, give it a thumbs up if you like it. The topic of the day today is purity culture, with a little bit of a snippet of appearance featuring, rape culture. I think that's all for the announcement. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Okay, so as you all know, today's topic is purity culture. If you're familiar with rape culture or even the term, you might be familiar with the term purity culture, even if you're not used to it. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find like the dip route for my thing. But yeah, even if you're familiar with the term rape culture, you should at the very least know the term of purity culture. So purity culture is actually a subculture of the evangelical movement that peaked in the 1990s. Are we surprised that it's a Christian movement? Absolutely not. However, for educational purposes, this is new information. So yeah, I need to get closer because I need to actually see. But yeah, it is part of the evangelical movement that peaked in the 1990s. Of course, it was to spread and promote like a biblical view of purity. Well, white evangelical Christian purity anyway. You guys see examples of purity culture all the time. Like when they teach abstinence instead of actual sex education, or when they shame women for being sexually active, etc. Like those are all effects of purity culture, right? Hold on. So even though gender is not binary, in purity culture, gender expectations are they're very strictly binary too. What if I put that concealer? I'm sorry. They're very strictly binary too. It's like men are taught to be emotionless, strong leaders, while women are taught to be submissive, soft, motherly, etc. And they're supposed to carry around this sort of purity with them, but it's not the sort of purity that's voluntary, nor is it the sort of purity that not innocence or anything like that. Because in the purity culture, they still expect women to be pure throughout their whole adulthood. However, they are still expected to be virgins and stuff like that. However, when it comes down to their wedding night or whatever the fuck, they're supposed to magically know what they're doing. That's also a thing of purity culture, right? And sexual expressions vary largely by gender. I didn't do my actual face today, my usual skincare, because I already did it this afternoon. It's kind of nighttime right now. I already did it because I'm gonna go to bed after this, but I'm gonna go through what I use on my face after, right? But yeah, like I said, sexual expectations vary by gender, but both genders are still expected to be completely abstinent. Where they differ is when they're not abstinent or when they are caught being quote unquote impure, where the blame falls. Right? Impurity, what am I saying? Before marriage. I forgot to say abstinent before marriage. I'm stupid. But yeah, no. But you know, like where it does change and where they differ and like per gender is where the blame falls if they are caught being impure, because you're not supposed to have any impure thoughts, feelings, or anything like that, right? In purity culture, it's the men's thoughts that are impure or like, you know, unclean, etc., etc. However, for the women, it's the women themselves, right? That's the difference between the gender expectations. And you can see that kind of reflected in today's culture and stuff when, for example, let's say a girl gets molested or raped or sexually assaulted, sexually harassed, and the first question that people will oftentimes ask is well, what was she wearing? You know, where was she? What was she doing? Did she have any protection? Why was she walking at night? Didn't she know that this area was dangerous? Why was she drinking? As if women are the ones responsible for men's actions instead of, like, you know, the men who do everything themselves. You know what I'm saying? So it's more so like the actions of those people are placed like upon the women, or essentially their victims, rather than the people who commit the acts themselves. And you guys, like, I could talk about endless examples of that, but like we see it in everyday life, you know, like that's why, like with rape, for example, like, you know, like in every 1,000 cases, only 7 of those go to court, let alone go to like jail. Do you know that? Do you know that? That includes those who are reported and unreported, mind you. Right? What am I supposed to do next? I forgot. But I'm sorry. I have an idea in my mind, I promise I do. I'm just trying to figure out how to actually do it. Right? But yeah. So with purity culture, you know, purity culture also for I'm going to be using, as I forgot the base. I'm a mess tonight. I'm sorry in advance. For the base on my eyes, because, you know, I am black. For the base, I'm gonna be using the Fenty. There we go. The Fenty Beauty Pro Concealer. This is the matte, the Pro Filter Matte Concealer in the color 100. Let me see if that's on. There we go, in the color 100. Because it's not white completely. It's more like peach colored. It's white people colored. That's what I keep calling it. But yeah, you know, it's not completely white. So it doesn't make my eyes look ashy. But it also gives me like a clear enough base that I can put the color, whatever color that I want on it. And it'll actually still pop, right? Let me figure out. I don't have any, you know what I just realized? I don't have any powder. Like, I don't have any sort of setting powder anymore. Like, I used to, but I don't anymore. I'm gonna fix this, by the way. I don't know how I'm gonna, like, make it yet, so this is what it is. I don't know what shape I'm gonna give the eyeshadow yet. So this is what y'all get. Apologies in advance. Okay. Don't look at me. I'm ugly. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't look at me. Right? But yeah, back to what I was saying. I put this brush. Purity culture teaches people like that impure thoughts and actions, you know, like on women and stuff like that. Basically, it teaches them to blame it on the women instead of the people who actually like commit those crimes. Which is why a lot of times you'll hear like, like the term victim blaming, which is where, like it's the most common, like when you hear people like talking about victim blaming, that's the most common type of situation that you'll hear it be mentioned. Also, this is the Violet Voss Care Bear palette in the shade Love a Lot Bear right here. I'm gonna use it to just blend in my entire eye. You know what? I need something closer, so I'm sorry, guys. Nah. But yeah, it's a reddish, pinkish base. It's perfect for what I need. I'm gonna put a deeper color in between, like in the middle of my thing. For now, I'm just blending. I'm probably gonna go with like a purple, probably like a deeper purple or something like that. Originally I was gonna do a Halloween look, but the way my mental health is set up, you feel me? Right now, see, beautiful. But yeah, right. Anyway, what was I saying again? Hold on. What was I saying? Right. So a most common thing in purity culture is that a lot of times you'll hear people tell women to be very careful not to provoke men, which is where that victim blaming comes in and stuff like that. Like they'll basically tell them like, be careful the way you dress, watch what you wear, watch where you are, like basically instead of teaching men, hey, women and femme presenting people are not your property and consent is important. They basically teach them like, hey, the people who tempt you, the women who tempt you are impure and you should steer clear of them. Even though in the Bible it actually says that if you're getting tempted to gouge out your eyes, but however evangelicals kind of skipped that part, and went straight to the women are the problem type of thing. And the patriarchy wasn't even that big of a problem until the 40s, the 1840s, when a man decided no, women are doing too much. They're too high up on the chain. I don't like it, But that's a video for another day. Right? Look at what I did with my hand. I don't understand it. I swear to God. I swear to fucking God. Right? Another example is when you see how purity culture and rape culture are very heavily present, specifically in the Black community. Let's look at the case of R. Kelly. This man got away with it for over 2 decades, and everybody knew what he was doing to those girls. However, the first response and the first question that I see a lot on the internet is what the people will ask. Well, those kids' parents knew what they were doing, they're trying to trap this man and they're trying to hurt his career, yada yada yada. So, what? Why is it that he's getting punished when these girls knew what they were doing, da da da? He was in his 20s and 30s, and these kids were in their 10s. They were in preteens. They were 12, 14, 16. These people were kids, and it's not anything that was hidden, and yet they still somehow found a way to blame the kid rather than, the grown fucking man. And it's similar to the way that the Black communities will hide their abusers because they're family. You get what I'm saying? So it is very, very, very prevalent, not only in modern day culture, but in the Black community as well. I know there was this video the other day on YouTube. I'm gonna find it on my phone and I'm gonna attach it.
This is why I have a problem with the predator label, because they were willing participants in the dynamic. R. Kelly was having other people find and vet girls for him. And that's when it got out of control. This is the reason that I never got caught, because I never brought anyone else into my circus, so to speak. I could have been a predator. And Even though I have a similar appetite to R. Kelly, I like young women. I ain't ashamed at it at all. She was willing, she wanted it, and here we come to R. Kelly. And I'm going to try to explain this appetite to you guys who don't have this appetite. Because the normal man doesn't have this appetite.
You just watched that. This man sat there and explained how he had the same appetite. You know, like, it's also an effect of purity culture and rape culture, where women are basically seen as objects. You know, they don't have a lot of autonomy. They basically, like, they're just there as like objects for the pleasure of men and stuff like that. Like, and they're supposed to basically keep themselves a certain way, like in mint condition, until a man suddenly wants them. Yeah. So yeah, you know, in purity culture and the patriarchy and all these things, women have no autonomy. You know, like, they have no, I'm not gonna say rights, because I know, like, there's gonna be a lot of people that be like, what rights don't women have? What rights don't women have? A lot of them, but you know, we're not gonna talk about that. But you know, like, I'm not gonna say like they don't have rights or whatever, because I'm not trying to start like a comment war, but they don't have a lot of liberties. Women don't have a lot of freedom and stuff like that. A lot of them that about a lot of things that like men have, you know? Like, they're not afforded the type of sexual liberty that men have. You know, like, they're seen as less valuable if they have the same type of partners or the same number of partners as their male partners. And then they wonder why so many women prefer to date women nowadays. But you know what? We're not going to talk about it. But you know, like, they're allowed like less bodily autonomy. Like, it's like, you've ever seen like a man with a high body count? They're dabbed up, like, oh, you a player. But then a woman does the same thing, and ooh, she a slut. She a whore. You know, you might want to avoid that. You know, like, women are compared to cars, saying like, oh, if she got a high mileage, like, first of all, what? Who thought this was a good idea? Who thought that? Anyway, you know, like, women are oftentimes objectified. Like, when women, for example, will say like, stop objectifying us, like, they're saying like, you know, if in a simple situation, if I'm just presenting something, just because my titties are huge or just because like my butt is big, don't mean you gotta point it out, especially when it has nothing to do with the situation. If she's doing like a thirst trap, that's different. Like, she's choosing to be objectified. She wants to be, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted. But let's talk about the concept of virginity, right? A lot of times people think virginity is basically when the hymen covers the vagina, and when a woman has sex for the first time, poof, it gets busted. Right? Wrong! What the fuck? What type of sexual education have you guys been receiving? That entire thing was wrong, right? Let's think about it logically. If the hymen covers a vagina, where would the period go? How would women have periods? Or how would people with vaginas have periods? You see the issue here, right? So let's rectify a few things. The hymen is a thin layer around the vagina, and it can tear for something simple as just doing the splits, riding a bike, just walking. It tears and repairs itself all the time. And multiple studies have shown that up to 52% of sexually active people with vaginas, guess what? Their hymen never ripped. So where did this idea of virginity come from with Christianity, right? Let's talk about Mary, right? Particularly, you know, Mary, the mother of Jesus and shit like that. You know. So first of all, beginning of, like, let's just start from the beginning, where it is an entire mistranslation. First of all, it wasn't the Virgin Mary, it was the young Mary, and she was young, very young. she was 14 and Joseph was thought to have been like somewhere around 40, right? Well, 13, 14 is around that, like, you know, that age that she was, and then Joseph was around like 40 and stuff like that. So, you know, you already know the story. She got pregnant, had Jesus, etc., etc. That's where that comes from. So no, it was a mistranslation. She was not the Virgin Mary. She was the young Mary. That was where this all started. And Mary in Christianity has represented, where the fuck did I put my setting spray? Has represented, like, and has basically been the pinnacle of purity and womanhood for women in Christianity for centuries. You know, like, she's always seen as the ideal woman, like something that women are supposed to look up to, amount to, and basically to, like, you know, inspire to become, or whatever, you know? When it's not realistic. So, no, hold on, no. Let me try to find this setting spray and then I'm gonna come right back. Yeah, I didn't find it. That didn't work. But yeah, right, as I was saying, you know, Mary is always taught to be the ideal, what women should basically amount to, what they should aspire to be. And that's damaging for a number of fucking reasons. One, because the whole situation is unrealistic. And this is not me like bashing Christianity or anything like that, but I'm saying, like, you know, like the expectations, placing those expectations on women, expecting them to amount or to basically be a Virgin Mary, be able to be a mother, you know, like sexually, like, you know, active and all these things, you know, like sexually, like have sexual prowess in bed without ever getting experience, then that's what's unrealistic, you know, like not the story itself or whatever, because, like, you know, like, I don't want to disrespect anybody's practices or religion, you know. So that's you know, like, it's just never been a realistic expectation. It's just never been something that anyone's going to be able to amount to. Like, it's just always been that way. And purity culture is always harmful to women because a lot of times it affects sexual survivors, you know, especially if they grew up Christian, because we all know how the Catholic Church likes to go down. But anyway, you know, like, sexual survivors are basically, like, always seen as, like, you know, used, etc., or they feel used because, you know, their entire worth is based on sexual experience or just sexual, what's the word I'm looking for? Sexual experience, or, like, you know, like sexual events, I guess. I don't know, my guy. Like, I don't know the word I'm looking for. Y'all, basically, sexual things that have happened to them is what determines their worth, whether or not they were engaged in any sexual activity. You know, and it's damaging in so many ways. I don't know why people still follow it. I don't know why people still, you know, like, believe in it. It's just, it would be so much easier, especially since it's not working. All it's doing is making people reject Christianity and rejecting their religion, because once they land in those situations, they feel that they are not going to be accepted by their God. They feel like they're not going to be accepted by their families, and a lot of times they're not. And those are the same people that end up getting abortions and stuff. So it's like, it just basically ends up being like a cataclysmic situation, and it just doesn't work. For the shimmer on my eyes, I'm using the Violet Voss Care Bear palette again, but this time I'm using it in the shade Best Friend Bear right there, and it kind of gives me this type of glowy, you know, whatever. I'm gonna touch up the purple after, like, a little bit, and add some black, because it's still supposed to be like, it's like a cute little look and stuff like that. I'm not doing anything for Halloween because tomorrow's Head Gideon, whatever. But for Haiti, it's like, it's a whole different thing. We have, like, the Gede, which is one of our lois and stuff like that, and it's his day because the Day of the Dead, and it's the day that the veil between the living and the dead is, like, the basically the thinnest, so it's easier for us to talk to our ancestors, easiest for us to talk to our spirits and all these things. So yeah, so I'm gonna be using the Friends X Makeup Revolution palette in the shade Ursula right there. This one, just kind of deepen the purple and stuff and kind of give it like a bluish like nightmarish type of hue, and I'm gonna blend it into the pink, because originally I just wanted the pink to just be on the top, so we're just gonna blend that in. But right, you know, like purity culture is damaging in a lot of ways. It does more harm than good. It basically like it takes away an autonomy, and which is why like a lot of people don't realize that that's the reason why so many people are now leaving Christianity for other religions and stuff like that, and other practices and indigenous practices, which I actually have actual evidence, but that's a whole other story and a whole other topic for another day. Don't worry, this is gonna be blended with black. I'm just mixing multiple colors so it can like, I know what I'm doing, right? I know what I'm going for. You feel me? Don't worry about it. But yeah, it does more harm than good. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the followers. It doesn't help the people you're trying to keep in the religion. It doesn't help the people you're trying to convert. So I don't see the reason why people push it onto people. It just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so we're gonna do the Morphe palette with this one. It's just the black shade that we're gonna be using to mix it. It's a James Charles palette. I hate that dude, but someone gave me this for my birthday, and it's honestly a great palette, so I use it. I'm not just gonna, have it wasted away. But we're gonna just take the black and then just dip it in the brown a little bit, just because I don't want it to be too deep, and then you can just mix it that way. That way, like, it has like a shadowy type of effect. I promise it looks nasty right now, but that's because I haven't cleaned it up. The really dark brown right there in the corner, that's the one we're taking. I know it looks really bright, but that's because of the way that it is on camera, but it's actually really fucking dark. See, it looks almost black. So see, anyway, then you make it look like a giant liner, right? And then you let it go. See, it has like these purple undertones and all these things. It'll look better once I clean it up, but for now, that's what we're trying to do. So 6 feet tall and super strong, we always get along. Oh I. That song has been stuck in my head. I blame TikTok. I've been on TikTok for too long. What time is it actually? Damn, I'm supposed to post this video in like an hour and 20 minutes. I don't know why I'm like this. But yeah, my loves, like that concludes basically the educational portion of the video. I just wanted like to talk about purity culture tonight. For the next video, I'm thinking of talking about Haiti and how Christianity destroyed Haiti, the effects of Christianity on Haiti throughout the years, how it played a role in Haiti's like destruction, and all these things, like how voodoo plays a role in Haiti's like existence and all these things like that, and the significance of voodoo in the Haitian culture. Okay. It looks disgusting right now, but I promise I'm gonna fix it, because it's like I've smudged everywhere, right? So where the fuck did I put it? Okay, yeah. So for the concealer that I'm gonna use the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Concealer again, but this time in the shade, I think 480. Yeah, 480, which is also, yeah, it's just 480. Thought it had a name, but right. I can't see properly on that because it's not a fucking monitor. Cause your bitch broke. But anyway, right? So I'm gonna use it and do it all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. Kind of give it like, you see how it just sharpens it. Oh, 6 feet tall and super strong, we always get along. I'm stupid, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of also. Anyway, but yeah, it's giving Morticia Adams. I'm sorry, I'm stupid. I'm a mess, but yeah. I've been listening to Familia from the Addams Family movie all fucking day. and all that's stuck in my head is like not only the 6 feet tall and super strong song, but the one that's like, you shouldn't mess with me, you don't wanna mess with me, cause if you mess with me, you messing with my family. That sounds stuck in my head, I'm sorry. But anyway, right? The thing is, I don't understand a lot of things, especially in American culture. And that's not to say like it doesn't exist in Haitian culture, it does. However, somehow in the Caribbean, which is supposed to be a third world country, it is less prevalent it's less prevalent than in the US, and I just don't get it. I don't get it. And don't get me wrong, it's there. It's very much there, like really badly. It's just there. However, it's just never been something that I really had to deal with, if that makes sense. Granted, like, the issue of consent is also a really big issue in Haiti and all these things, and like people are still like, you know, trying to kind of like understand what consent means, and like, you know, what it means to actually consent and what constitutes sexual assault. And a lot of those things, like, I thought like were common sense when I was in Haiti, and even though I thought they were common sense when I came to the US, like I had sexual education from the 2nd grade all the way to the 6th and 8th, and even like 8th grade when I left Haiti and stuff like that, right? So all the way to 8th grade, I was getting sexual education. So it's like, it kind of baffled me when I came to the US and I realized that a lot of schools just taught abstinence and didn't teach you guys like, you know, like sex ed and stuff, which doesn't make sense to me, because I'm like, y'all like our huge country versus like the only 10 million that we got in Haiti and whatever. Or is it 100? I don't know, but it's something. But like, you know, like y'all have like millions and millions and millions, like hundreds of millions of people, and y'all don't teach sex ed. Why? Because even in like prevalent schools, like even in schools like, you know, private schools, or like schools that like, you know, like even private schools and schools that like have access to big budgeting, like big budgets and stuff like that, and can afford it, they still don't teach it. And I'm so confused. I'm so confused as to why not. Because why not? You know? I forgot to do the inner corners of my eye. So y'all are just witnessing this whole mess right now. But okay. So this is not the right palette. Where's the palette that I need? Which one is it? Oh, I'm stupid. I got the wrong palette. Anyway, back to what I was saying. From the Patricia Bright Revolution palette, right? We are going to take the Shimmer Gold right there. It's the shade Wow. W-A-O-W. Yeah, it's the actual name. And we're gonna put it in the corners. In the corners. It's like a glittery, a little bit up, like melting into the thing, right? And blend it in. Yeah, I know I'm hot. Anyway, okay. The shimmer was a base, in case you didn't know. It was a base for the glitter. Don't worry, I'm putting a lot of glitter because I wanted to sprinkle all over this, because it's gonna be cute when it blends in with the thing that I'm gonna put underneath it. Do the same thing for the inner, for like the other eye. Put a lot in the inner corner. Still the same shade. And then you move it up. And then, you know, gotta make sure that it's completely. And then I gotta finish the other side. Blend that itch. And then blend it, blend it, blend it. Should look something like this. And then we're gonna fix the black part Go right the fuck back with the Morphe palette black and just blend that in. Just the ends. You don't want to, you know, erase too much of the glitter. So just the ends. That way it ends up looking something closer to this, you know? Let me stop. I look dusty. But anyway, and that's really all there is to it for today. I'm just gonna go ahead and use the Prime Beauty. You already know I don't use foundation like that, so I just usually use the bronzer to just like do my face. I don't know why either. Don't judge me. Don't ask me questions. Well, I do know why. It's kind of less heavy than the foundation and stuff. I just use the Morphe brush. It's the Morphe M6. It's a foundation brush. But since I don't use that foundation like that, usually I would use the Fenty, but it's like, it's heavy and I'm really like, it's not really heavy. It's more so like, it feels like foundation. I'm not really in the mood for foundation tonight, right? So, see, it's like little freckles, glitter freckles. We're gonna sprinkle them. It's like, see, it's like shimmer, it just moves across the face. I don't think I like this one. It didn't blend in the way I wanted to, and I'm gonna fix that. So I'm gonna fix that first. Okay, there we go. There we go. A little bit of setting spray. You put that on the brush and you rub that in that cone. And it's perfect. The perfect foundation. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna fix my eye, finish up the wig and stuff like that, and I'll come back to close out the video. I almost forgot to do my lips. I almost did, and I looked at them, I'm like, something's missing. Yeah, bitch, you didn't do your lips. Anyway, before I close out the video, so I'm gonna use the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in whatever black. It's the shade 100 to line my lips. It's kind of sharp, so you know. Ooh. It's sharp because I sharpened it like that, and like I didn't know it was gonna sharpen like that. Now I know it's giving like a shadowy effect. That's the reason why I put the blue in it and stuff like that. Kind of looks like, it's like, do I have it on? Is it blue? Is it purple? Is it like, you know, it's like, it's very shadowy, but it is what it is. Okay. So, usually to help blend that out a little bit, where the fuck did I put it? Again, with the Stay Matte liquid lip color in the color black. Obviously, I don't think it has a shade number. Yeah, it's just Stay Matte liquid lip color. It's pitch black, 840. That's what it is. And then usually I'll just like put a little bit in the corners right there, so kind of like help it blend in. Cause like when the edges of the pencil are too sharp, it doesn't smoothen out the way I want it to. So I usually just use the pencil with leftover lipstick and kind of make that out right there. And then I'm really tempted. I don't know if I should do the deep red or the dark red. I'm just like, I'm leaning towards the dark red. Maybe I should do, why not both, you know? Why not? It's the same lipstick, the Stay Matte, it's the same Stay Matte liquid lip color, but in the shade 810. Plum this show. Shit, I put it too high up. Oh. And then I know I look dusty right now. I promise I'm not gonna look dusty for long. And then we just wait for it to like dry. Now go in with the brighter red, and all you're gonna do is put a little bit down the center, just a little bit. Don't put too much, right? Just a little bit. So it does like this little ombre, shadowy effect, right? And this is the lip paint in long lasting smudge of lip color. I don't really know where I got this. I just know it's called lip paint and it's in the shade Rebel. So once that's done right there, we are going to take the Fenty, the Heat. It's the hot chocolate. It's the same brown lipstick that I always wear, but in the like without the sparkles. It's the Heat one, right? And then I'm gonna put it over it. I promise you, it's not gonna look bad. Put it over it all the way. Okay, okay, now I'm gonna go fix myself and then close up the video. And we are back, my loves. So yeah, I know it's been a while since y'all seen this wig. I know it's been a while since y'all seen bubblegum. But yeah, you know, like that's it. That's all I have on period culture and rape culture. Well, not rape culture. Rape culture I can go into more detail, but like I kind of just think it was just kind of here as a by the way, you know, type of thing, rather than like an extensive video. I will be doing an extensive video probably somewhere down the line. I don't kind of want to do it like, because they're very heavy topics and I don't want to just put them right after the other because it's like a little bit digesting. But thank you again for watching my video and thank you for joining me. I will see you guys next time on my channel. Have a good one.